All right, now it's time to welcome our next guest on Johnny on the Track. You might know him from the NASCAR Heat games with his 2016 album Central Standards, which features Fake It, Long Year, and Never Love You on some of the NASCAR Heat games. He released Honest Graft in 2018. And Friday, April 30th, yes, that will be the day this drops. He releases his fourth studio album, Little Wins, and we have a little sneak peek of a song from that album. There he is. He's showing it off with the little album cover I saw. I'm super excited for it. We're going to play a little something at the end and make sure you check it out. It's available on all streaming platforms. All of his stuff is. And his name is Steve Everett. Steve, thank you for coming on.
Man, I'm happy to be here. This is I like the name of your podcast. That was my initial reaction.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. So yeah, look, name of the podcast, Johnny on the Track. And that brings me to why I asked you to come on this podcast. I heard your stuff in the first NASCAR Heat game, NASCAR Heat 4. And I'm like, damn, this guy's pretty good. Like, I'm a fan. And so I'm listening to your stuff, just hearing it a lot because there's like 12 songs on the first NASCAR game. So they, you hear them a lot. But, I didn't get some of them got a little old. Yours did not, which is a good thing. And then I purchased NASCAR Heat 5, and then you got 2 more in that game. And I'm like, I just heard this guy in the first game. So tell me, how did that come about?
Yeah, so actually the first game I'm on is NASCAR Heat 2.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so so like I grew up in North Carolina from the time I was like, 3 until I was, 24. I lived there. And and everybody that works for NASCAR is, has to do business in North Carolina. So over the years you meet people, and like two of the guys that were I went to Appalachian State for college.
Oh, cool.
And
yeah.
we won the 4 years that I was there. My freshman, sophomore, junior year, we won the national championship in 1AA football.
Okay.
3 years in a row. And the quarterback that won it the first year is Richie Williams, and he's on a NASCAR pit crew now. And then Kevin Richardson was the running back for the next 2, who was just like our best running back ever. And he's like won all these like diversity awards and stuff in NASCAR for being one of the first black dudes to like be a pit crew all-star basically.
Yeah.
And so he's breaking down barriers. But yeah, it's just, if you're from North Carolina, like it's just impossible to get away from NASCAR in one way or another. And so there's just this person that worked at 704 Games in Charlotte, and she knew, my music and knew me, and just kind of, when they got the contract for that first one they did, which was NASCAR Heat 2, back when it was an EA Sports game, she was just like, hey, if you want, I can pitch your stuff. Like, I think it might work for this. And I was just like, please. And
Easy.
I was like, can I meet Scott Speed? Because that's the best race car driver name of all time.
Yes.
But yeah, man, so I just, I hit her up with a couple of tracks that would work, and Chemical Weapon was on NASCAR Heat 2. And then what I didn't realize, because I grew up playing like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 or whatever.
Right.
And I found out about a few bands from that. And what I didn't realize was like how sweet the entire NASCAR community was going to be.
Yeah,
so, like,
dude.
that one song, basically like started showing up on all these Spotify playlists and Apple Music playlists from just like people. And then all of my YouTube videos, I just started getting comments. And like, I get like at least one comment a day on YouTube from somebody from the NASCAR world who's like, dude, I heard you in the game. It's awesome. Keep doing what you're doing. And it's never like, nobody trolls me from that world. Like, it is only positive support. And it's just been like incredible. So then, they didn't do the music for the third one. And then they got 4 and 5 back. And so I got another song or two on NASCAR Heat 4. And then yeah, this most recent one, they were like, "Hey, we're going to use two of your tracks." So now it's just like a, this funny thing that's like I'm like the mayor of NASCAR Heat.
You are. You certainly are. And dude, I totally agree with you. Like everybody that listens to your stuff and like the games. I was actually in a NASCAR league, like a heat league, and we'd
Yeah.
race on like Saturday nights, and everybody would always sing along to your song, and they would say, "I swear to God, dude, I swear." They would all say like, "Man, like some of these games, some of these songs like get a little old, but like his stuff never gets old." And like I don't know, like a lot of the people from I have a Twitter, like a Twitter account.
Yeah.
Yeah, we interacted on the Twitter. Um Johnny on the Track podcast, Jot podcast. And if you go to your account, like everybody that I follow or follows me, like also follows you. Wild. It's wild. But what a small world, and what a cool opportunity, right?
Yeah, you just don't hear about, as a musician, I'm 36. Like I've been doing this for 16 years is like my main focus, which is crazy to think about now.
Yeah.
There's so many things that you do for little to no money to get, publicity, to get like exposure. And that word exposure just gets abused with all art and artists.
Yeah.
But this was one of those things where I was like, well, it'll be cool. Like I can at least like tweet about it and be like, hey, I'm on this game. And then it just kind of like started with that first game. And then once the second game that I was on came out, it just became like people were like, oh, we're going to hear from this guy. So we need to keep in touch. And it's just been cool, man. Like hardly anything yields that kind of a result. It's just been, yeah, I don't know. It just seems like my music was going to resonate with those people. And I just needed to find a way, to reach them. And this just happened to be it. So more power to NASCAR Heat.
So let me ask you this: do you think that like jump started a lot of you said you've been doing it for like 16 years. Did that like really jump started, or did you already you've got like almost 20,000 followers on Instagram? Did that kind of jump start it all, or were you kind of doing your thing before and that just kind of helped elevate it? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it really was just like you struggle as an independent artist to there's rungs on the ladder and you can
Mhm.
climb and like you have to reach the next one before you realize what the one after that is. And you know basically like I've been doing this for a long time and I've been very blessed and lucky that like I've been making my living playing my own songs for over 10 years now. And so like I was already I already had a career and things were already in motion, but it definitely was just like it just kind of allowed me to reach for another rung on the ladder, which was great. And so it just kind of was, you never know what the next thing is going to be. And you just kind of keep shaking trees. And then, the NASCAR thing was definitely something that fell out of the tree that I was like, oh, I'm going to keep this for sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And yeah, I mean, look, it made for this podcast. I saw you, a couple weeks ago on another not NASCAR podcast. So
Yeah,
it definitely gained the exposure, and that's awesome, man. So let's take it back. 16 years. You said you've been doing this. Maybe you even started before.
I
Let's go.
definitely started before.
All right, so let's go all the way back to the start. Tell me when you started playing music, like what instruments were you picking up early, and
Yeah.
what were your influences? Who are you listening to in your early stages?
Yeah. I grew up in a very conservative Christian household.
Okay.
And so, but my dad like sang opera in the 70s and has been a church choir director my whole life. So
That's
like
cool.
from the get go, everybody in my family was musical. And, like as soon as I was old enough to know what was up, I was like in my dad's like handbell choir and like, all the little musical, opportunities there are at churches. And so I just fell in love with it. And it was very clear to me by the time I was like 10 that I wanted to be a singer songwriter. And so that's when I got a guitar. And then it took me a couple years before I really even like got a handle on it to start, writing songs and stuff. And so I started doing that at 12, joined a band at 15, and we made, a record and toured around. And I started doing all of like the management stuff and figured out, how to build a website and like how to book us and all these things that I just kind of like learned. And then, I went to college and started another band and kind of got some of the stuff I had gotten wrong before, got that right. And then, ran into what most bands run into. And it's really hard. to talk grown people into like, hey, do you want to be poor longer to chase this dream, into our 30s, And so like when you're in your 20s, it's fun. And then I think as you get your mid 20s, just a lot of people are like, listen, man, I got to do something, of note. And there's no guarantees in this business of any kind. So I just kind of ran out of friends to be in bands with. And then, in 2010 or shortly thereafter, I moved out to Nashville to start a solo career and had a guy, front me the money for my first record and never ended up asking for it back. He was just like a huge supporter. And so that really like, that was one of those things that you don't know where the next thing is coming from. I was
Right.
like, well, I'm at the end of my path here. How am I going to make a record? And then this guy comes out of nowhere, seemingly kind of like the NASCAR thing. And so you just got to keep going. Cause you can, Dwight Eisenhower said, plans are nothing. Planning is everything, which is
Right.
interesting, So it's like everybody's got a plan until you get hit in the mouth. And then it's like, well, am I going to stop now just because I'm bleeding? Or maybe Google how to patch myself up and keep going?
Yeah, that's interesting, man. And I hear where you're coming from. But that is the thing. That is the thing. And we were talking before the show, we were talking with me and you asked me, do I want to pursue a career in NASCAR? And it's like, yeah, I do. And I'm not going to stop trying. That's for sure. And from what it sounds, it's the same as you. You're going to do whatever you can to keep making music. I love this. I love doing this. I'm going to do whatever I can to keep doing this.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be.
Dude, well, and the beautiful thing is um, the work that the average person is willing to put in to
Yeah.
accomplish a goal is a pretty low bar. So like if you really want something and you're a personable, nice, intelligent guy, like there's no reason that there's anything holding you back except for just like persistence and hard work. Like if you
Yeah.
get around those people and you start emailing people, start tweeting at people and just like, hey, I'm young, I'm hungry, I just want a foot in the door. Like give me anything. Like if I can live, I'll move down there and like just kind of learn where I'm going to fit in. And I think people respond to that. And if I owned a company and somebody hit me up and was like, hey, like, I just love what you guys do and I want to be a part of it. And this is a little bit about me. And like, can we figure something out? I would always respond positively to that.
Well, that's good to hear. And I can see, that because you were so prompt in me reaching out to you. So like so quick. You were like, hell yeah, let's do it. Let's find a time. And thank you to that. But you
Yeah,
know,
man.
I've had to reach out to a lot of people to try to get guests. I've had some great guests. I've had some guests that aren't in the industry. But like you said, it's just shoot the message. I don't care if someone rejects me. If someone says
Yeah.
I listened, I'm not a fan. I don't care. I'll find the next person that is, and I'm not going to stop. And so, cheers to you, man, for yes, for being so quick to respond. And yeah, I'm super super fortunate and happy we got to do this for sure.
Oh, likewise, man. And I, yeah, it sounds a lot like the music industry, just a bunch of no's, but you just gotta, closed mouths don't get fed. So you just gotta keep on asking.
Yes, absolutely. So now let's get into your stuff. Let's get into your music. So tell me what it takes to write a good song. Where's your inspiration coming from? Is it the girl on the street, that maybe said yes, or you got the date or something? Like what is it? What's the inspiration behind a good one?
Yeah, man. I mean, when you first get started, really the answer is like the secret behind one good song is like 200 crappy songs.
Okay, all right.
So, it's like just keep writing and then, you kind of get the hang of the form. And once you have the form and kind of like, it would be like trying to train to be, a great basketball player, but without a net or a hoop and without like the dimensions marked off on the floor. Like once you get a hang of like, all right, this is how big the court is, this is how tall the hoop is, like this is what you can and can't do. Once you know the rules, then you can start like progressing. And so that's the first thing is just to like look at the forms of songs and, just kind of get that under your belt. And then, so that took me years to figure out. And in
Right.
the meantime, you're writing like songs for your mom and dad for like holidays and stuff.
Mhm.
And then, and then fast forward to now, and now like I have a pretty good idea. Like I'll have a thought and I'll be like, nah, John Cougar Mellencamp already wrote that song, or, like John Mayer already wrote that song,
Right.
whatever it is. But now I'm pretty, when I get a good idea, I'm like, ooh, I don't think anybody said quite that, and that's kind of now whether, and it could be about anything, like I've got a song about historical markers, like the little signs on the
Yeah.
highway that are like historical marker in 1/4 mile. Like I have a song about that because I just got to feeling bad for the historical marker because nobody goes to visit or take pictures with it. But then
Right.
the actual thing that you wouldn't even know is there without that sign, it gets field trips and like photo sessions and stuff.
Okay.
So you have a thought like that just driving around, and then you're like, I've never heard that song. And, that's your job is to like look for the ones you haven't heard and then write them, just however the best you can. And then whether they're good or not, there's so many ways for a song to be good. Like a song can be good if your voice is good,
Mhm.
but it doesn't have to be. Like Bob Dylan didn't have a very pleasing voice,
Right.
but his lyrics were so good that it didn't matter, or you can be, you know, like Adele. Like I don't even know what her songs are about. I just love to hear her sing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
That's
you
funny.
just, there's like a hard work talent axis and you kind of want to be right in the middle and just, just keep with it. But I mean, it's really anything can trigger a song. You can wake up in the middle of the night after a dream and be like, oh my God, I've paused countless movies to go write a song because I've gotten inspired. And then, obviously Heartbreak is just a slam dunk every time.
Right, right, absolutely, but I think there's too many about heartbreak. So you gotta like you said, find the things that haven't been done. So you released, I want to say what, like 2 weeks ago, you released your new single, and that is that the headline to your new album?
It's the first song. Like
Okay,
when you choose a single, and like it's just me. I mean, I've got people that I work with, but it's all independent. So like at the end of the day, everybody's waiting on me to tell them what to do for me.
right,
So in that way, like I have to make all those choices. So when you're choosing a single, like it's got to be like everybody chooses a catchy, fun single.
yes,
You don't float your like introspective track that's deep on the album. And so a lot of times, the classic model is like your single, ends up being the first song on the record, just like what sets the tone for your whole record. And it makes sense that way because then when you hear the actual album when it comes out, you didn't think it was going to be a whole record of like ballads. And then, it's actually just all these up tempo songs, but the single was a ballad. So that's just kind of, you pick the track that is like right in the heart of what you're doing on that record. And then also, one of the more like catchy, potentially commercially successful songs. So you go
yeah.
ahead and get that one out into the world and let people just deal with that one song for a couple weeks. Because that always, whatever song you choose as a single will end up being the one almost every time that people latch onto the most.
And how long does it take you to figure, like when you were right? So it's this song we're talking about is called "What's in the Well," correct?
Yep. Yep.
So that'll be your first single on the new album. Again, that'll drop Friday, April 30th,
Boom.
2021. What a year so far! But yeah, we're excited for that. So how long did it take you to figure that out? That all right, I want to start with "What's in the Well." This is what I'm going to put out a couple weeks before I put out this awesome album. How long does that take? And did you know right away?
Um, no, you don't know right away because like all the songs, and I think what people don't understand too, it is really hard. Um, it's hard to get a song from your head to a record and have it be exactly like you wanted it to be
Yeah,
because
I'm sure.
it's really tough. So like sometimes, you go into a record and you think like, oh, these are your best four on this record. And
Hmm.
then you record it. And then once you hear the mixes and everything, you're like, oh, actually, this one it came out awesome,
Okay.
And so you always wait until you got the recorded products because, sometimes whoever's playing with you on the record or just, the sounds that you get in the studio, sometimes something else kind of sticks out and you're like, oh my God, this came together and is really special. But going into this one, I had a pretty good idea. It was either going to be one or two songs, and then as soon as I heard the drum intro to "What's in the Well," I was like, yeah, it's going to be "What's in the Well."
Okay, good, good. It's a great song. So again, that's on all streaming platforms. That released, I don't know, a couple
April
weeks.
16th.
All right, so April 16th. Good one. But I listened to the one you sent me, and dude, that song. I mean, I sent an email right back to him like that song is badass. That song is
Thanks, man.
awesome. And like I said, I've listened to a lot of your stuff, a lot of your songs, and I heard that one, and I was just like, damn, like if this is going to be the album, like I am really excited and just ready to listen. It's got some awesome like drum stuff, some sweet guitar stuff. The lyrics are
Cool.
awesome. It's got like some change in tempo, which is cool. So I'm excited. Again, we're gonna wait till the end to play that.
Cool.
But man, I just want to take the time to say like that song, dude. If just as soon as I heard it, I was like, this can be a hit song. And I genuinely mean that because we were talking before the show how much of a music fan I am. If I could get any, country artist, rock artist on this show, I would, talk for hours with any of them. And so, I heard that and I was like, I can see this on the radio. I can see this, resonating with people. The lyrics are great. And that was another thing that I heard it first, and then I said, all right, well, now I want to listen to the lyrics, and the lyrics are just as good as the actual like instruments in the background. So I'm excited to be able to share with the peeps.
Yeah, man, this will be an exclusive premiere. That song's called Just an Opinion. And I wrote it with actually the guy we were talking about, like keep chasing after what you want and, just keep putting yourself out there. So this dude, Jared Anderson, was the assistant on my last record, Honest Graft. Um, and he worked at the studio Omni Sound Studios in Nashville, and
Mhm.
I just like we just kind of got along really well. He's a super nice guy, and then he asked me after the record was done. He was like, "Hey man, would you ever want to write?" Because I write with people in town, and I was like, "Yeah, let's write a song." And so he came over to the house and we wrote that song together. So like you just never know, like and I'm nobody famous or anything, but he's gonna have a cut on an album that's like released and marketed worldwide. So like he's excited about it, and it's just a result of him being like, I like this guy. I'm gonna ask him to write a song with me.
Yes, and that's all it takes, man. That's all it takes, and I guess that's the theme of this podcast right now. It's just it takes just one thing, and to not just keep sticking the foot in the door
Just
and
do the next right thing.
right, right. So let me ask you this. You've got the album coming out. Where do you see, let's go 5 years. Where do you see Steve Everett in 5 years?
Oh man, I I'll probably be doing a similar version to what I'm doing now, man. Like I've reached a point, in my career where, under normal circumstances, COVID obviously derailed everything, but like I go around the country and play small venues and am lucky enough that people come out and, and then I'll do some home shows, in small cities where I have like a few fans that can just invite their friends and we'll
Mhm.
do like a backyard show. And then,
Ooh.
I'll open up for bigger artists when I can. And then I've got a few festivals that I play. And, so, I'm just, it's kind of all mapped out. And the better things get, like more notoriety or more fans for me would just kind of lead to maybe a bigger venue in that city or, just a fuller room. Um, but and I also like I appreciate what you're saying about Just an Opinion. It's definitely like an alternative rock, like an early '90s type of
It
thing.
is. It absolutely is. Yeah.
Yeah, which I love, and that's what I want to bring to the world for sure is that energy and vibe, and not taking yourself so seriously, um, but still like some like you were saying like some substantive lyric content. Like it's this song is about like we all feel like this, and like here's what we need to remember when we do feel like this. So it's like a helpful message, and I like that kind of style of music, and I wish that thoughtful, contemplative, like good content pop, rock, country music. I wish that it was, celebrated more. Um, you made the comment that this could be a hit song. Like this will not be a hit song, just because the record companies and the radio stations won't push it, which is
Yeah.
fine. And
Yeah.
I've kind of made peace with that. So like the 5 years from now thing is, maybe tastes change and like maybe But I'm just going to be around when the tastes do change and they want to, when they want another. Uh, I've toured a lot with Sister Hazel, who's a famous '90s rock
Oh
band.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, so like they've done a ton for me, and they're still very active and great guys. And but yeah, I mean, just like really thoughtful, positive, fun music, and it tons of harmonies and just stuff that kind of everybody can access. And I do miss that being popular music, but if I'm sure I sound like an old man.
No, you're not. You are absolutely not. And I'll be honest with you, I am so behind pop, or I don't even know, behind past, whatever you want to say. Pop music to me right now is just, it's so different to, I don't even know how to describe it.
It just
It is
doesn't challenge you. It's
it
it's it's
doesn't
like
challenge. It's so
yeah,
mainstream. It all sounds the same, and it's tough because you listen to like Maroon Five. I give them a ton of credit. Adam Levine, and the band has been able to stay relevant for almost like 20 years now.
right.
Songs about Jane in 2005, and 2021, they're still making what I wouldn't consider it good music, but it's still resonating with people. um and if but I'm saying like the sound of Songs About Jane, which is considered a pop rock album, to like I don't even know what something they're putting out, like Memories or something. It's not even close, man. It's just not even close.
Yeah, but I mean, like we were coming out of an era of like the baby boomers and these generations of like um, there was just a whole lot of people that were being raised really strict, and they were made to have like really robust vocabularies, and they just had to learn all of this stuff to make them a well-rounded person. And we were very focused on that as a country. And then I think we kind of realized in the last like 30 years that like, man, maybe we shouldn't be hazing people, and maybe we shouldn't be beating our kids until they learn what we want them to, so there's been like some really good corrections. But I think a bad side effect of that is that our art that we get is really really dumbed down as to not make anybody feel like they're not invited. And it's superhero movies and it's pop songs about like having sex at the beach more. And it just ends up, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like every style of music is allowed to be made. But it definitely just seems like there's a lot of us that are kind of kept at bay right outside the city walls. And every once in a while
I
somebody like Jason Isbell kind of creeps over and you're like, oh, we're gonna let him be famous. And we're like, oh great, there's more of us that take it this seriously. And it's like, just a few. We just need a few.
That's all. That is. I totally agree with you. I totally agree with everything you just said. And I love Jason Isbell.
Yeah.
And yeah, man. Look, we've said it, plenty, but all it takes is that chance. And like
Yeah.
you said, I think you made a good point with your music is just for people looking to enjoy and have a good time. And I agree. I think that's what the Just an Opinion does, and Long Year, and Fake It, and all that stuff. So I totally agree with you. I want to move into one more thing, and then we'll get to the trivia, and we'll get to the moment everybody's been waiting for to hear this song we've been talking about. Let me ask you this. So, what do you think has been the most rewarding part of your journey so far in music? And from just hearing you talk, I'm not going to find, I don't think, someone who loves what they do as much as you. And I really appreciate that about you, man. It seems like you really are committed to, just sharing your stuff with people. So tell me, like, what is that the most rewarding part? Just being able to share what you love with others? Is it, I don't know, maybe hearing someone sing your stuff? Like, tell me what it is.
Yeah. Honestly, man, like um, I grew up super overweight and, have struggled with that my whole life. But at one point I was 340 pounds
Wow,
and, so lost like 140, 150 pounds.
that's awesome, man.
Well, I appreciate that. And but it's a struggle that like a lot of people go through.
Yeah,
And,
yes, absolutely.
And because of that, I was an outcast growing up, and just I was never cool or like in that club. And so I feel like now as a musician, as somebody who tours around, and my whole evolution to get to the point where I'm okay being somebody who's like being filmed, and taking pictures of me all the time, and like I've had to overcome all those, body image hurdles and stuff like that. And I don't know. I think I'm like a champion of the outcast, a champion of the underdog. And so that's kind of the most rewarding thing for me is when I travel around, I see the people who come out to my shows, and they're just kind of like-minded people. They're either, people who are also trying to look out for the underdogs or who are the underdogs, and it's just a real sweet group of people. And, if I can be the Pied Piper of, folks who felt like they were never invited to the table, then I'm happy to do that. And I give out a lot of hugs, and and I'm not trying to poke any fun at my fan base. I love my fan base, but it just kind of seems that we're all like hip to that same vibe of like, what if everybody was included,
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And that's part of music. That's what music should be. It should appeal to everybody, and everybody should have a place in, listening to it. I think that's interesting though, to be honest, because I obviously, you said you went through a lot, and look where you are now. But just looking at you, I was like, how do I be as cool as this guy in like
Oh man.
videos and Instagram? I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. And you just seem like a happy-go-lucky, down-to-earth, good guy. And so, yeah, man.
Well, likewise, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And so, all right, let's get into it. Let's do it. So, like I said before the show, we always play a good game at the end, and so we're gonna bring out our classic fastest lap trivia. So how it works, Steve, is we look at the track that NASCAR's racing at this week, Kansas Speedway, and we look at the fastest lap ever recorded in qualifying at Kansas Speedway,
Okay.
which was a 24.761 lap. So I'm going to give you 25 seconds to answer this question. I have heard, and I did a little investigating, I guess, on your Instagram, and I was right that you are a big PGA and golf fan.
Yes.
So I've got two questions, and we'll do them both in 25 seconds. But the second one, I think you can get right on the first try. But this one, you're going to have as many tries as you want. You're going to get 25 seconds. All right.
Okay.
All right. So let me get up my little stopwatch here. Okay. All right. 25 seconds to answer this question. I'll tell you when we start. All right. So in 2015, I hope you were watching golf in 2015. Were you?
Indeed.
Okay, good. In 2015, my favorite golfer, Ricky Fowler, won the Players' Championship to capture his biggest tour win to date. I want you to name one of the two players that he beat in the playoff holes to capture that win, all right?
Okay.
25 seconds on the clock. Go.
Rory McIlroy.
No.
Oh, I'm thinking of Quail Hollow. I'm thinking of Ricky's first win, which I was at in Charlotte. Okay. That he went to a playoff on that one too.
All right, I'm pausing. I'm pausing. All right, all right. We're back. We're back.
Okay.
TPC Sawgrass. Come on. You're 20 seconds in.
Justin Thomas.
No.
Ah, man, I really don't know.
All right, all right. I stopped the clock. I'll give you a hint. So one of them is a major champ, and he won the Masters.
He just won the Masters.
No, no.
I'm not gonna get this. I mean, it's just stabs in the dark.
Give me one more.
Bubba Watson.
No. All right. So in 2015, Ricky Fowler beat both Sergio Garcia
Okay.
and Kevin Kisner.
I would have never gotten Kevin Kisner. Wait, was that when Sergio put all those balls in the water?
Yes. Yeah.
Ah,
He was up and leading, and then that's what Ricky like propelled late. And yeah, Ricky, I think Sergio lost on the first playoff hole, and then Ricky and Kiz went to the Island Green, and Ricky stuck one like 5 feet from the pin and birdied it.
Yeah, dude. I'm a huge Ricky Fowler fan. As soon as Tiger was gone for a while, I was like, well, who else am I gonna? And then I saw Ricky, and I was like, yes.
Yeah, Ricky's dope. Ricky's one of my favorites. I'm a Ricky guy. I'm a Spieth guy.
Yeah.
Um, I like Cam Smith too. I like
Yeah,
Cam.
there's a bunch of young guys now that are a lot of fun to pull for.
They really are, and that's honestly that's one of the cool like two cool things I think about NASCAR and golf is like there's new young guys each year, and they all like are kind of cool dudes, you know, and so
Yeah.
it's really fun to root for. So that was the first question. We're now going to give you a music question, and
Okay.
this one I think you'll probably get with just one guess. I assume we'll see. So 25 seconds. This is the question. It is a country music question from one
Okay.
of my favorite country music artists, Eric Church. You're an Eric Church fan?
Yeah, dude. He went to App State right before I did.
Okay, so there we go. Perfect. So Eric Church has been around since 2006, but his first number one song didn't come until 2011 on the album Chief. What was that song? Go.
Okay. Chief is the one where he's got the aviators on.
Yep.
Put a drink in. All you gotta do is put a drink in my hand.
Yes, sir. First try, 10 seconds. Nailed it. Well done. Well done.
Wait, did you answer the fastest lap at Kansas Speedway question?
No, so that's literally just what we do. So basically, that is the fastest lap, and you just have to
Oh.
yeah. So you just got to answer the question in the 24 seconds, and that's kind of how the
Oh,
we.
I like it, man. Okay.
Thank you, thank you. I've not gonna lie, I've got some definitely some creative ones. So we do a game called Can You Pit It? And I've had a couple of pit crew members, like some of the guys you were talking about earlier. Haven't had any of them on, but I'd love to if you can get me in touch with them. But basically, what
Yeah.
we do is we just ask, we show them like a fictional character, like Shrek, Forrest Gump, and we're like, can this person be in the pits? And they got to say yes, no. They got to tell us why. So it's like all NASCAR related games, but it's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Man, I keyed in. I was at that Quail Hollow tournament when Ricky won for the first time, and it was him, Rory McIlroy, and I can't remember who the third. Oh, it was Webb Simpson, who was like
Oh
from
yeah,
Charlotte, and that was his home course, and it was so cool. We were sitting right, behind the water off the green, and we just got to watch them. And they played 18 twice in a row, and then Ricky just stuck it in so close, and the other guys had 12 feet or more, and so Ricky, it was just a tap in,
yeah.
and the other guys missed the putts, and it was so fun to be there. But I keyed in too hard on that. I definitely, if I'd have had something else in my brain, I would have definitely remembered Sergio putting all his balls in the water.
That's all right. That's all right. Yeah, I've only been to. It's crazy. I'm a huge golf fan. I played all 4 years. No, actually, sorry, 3 years in high school. I still play. I still stink. Fun fact here: in my time at Narragansett High School golf, for the 3 years I was on the team and a starter, we never won a match. We also never came in second. There was always three teams. We always came in last,
Damn.
which is it's tough. It's tough. But what I was gonna say is the only golf tournament I've ever been to was TPC Boston, and Rory actually won. He
Yeah.
kind of killed the competition, but a lot of times Rory does that. So
Yeah.
all right, so we've got the game. We did that. Now I want everybody to hear this awesome song that releases, like we said, Friday, April 30th on the new album, Little Wins. It is called Just an Opinion. We're going to get it up now, and I hope that if I just share my screen here, this should it should play. So let me try this. Oh no. Okay. Hold on. Let me try this. I'm just gonna start playing it. You tell me if you hear it.
Yeah.
You hear that?
Yeah.
How do sober people fall asleep? And what do skinny people even eat? all these couples ever meet. I'm just asking for a friend. I live around the corner from my gym. It's close enough that I could walk to it. I mean, I drive it every time I've ever been, but it's nice to have the option. Beautiful is just an opinion. Some nights staying alive is a win. So get up or give up or shake up or shut up or wake up and do it again. Beautiful is just an opinion.
Bang. Perfect. Right on the dot. 57 seconds of the new one. Again, that's called Just an Opinion. And it gets better every time I listen to it, Steve. Hold on. Wait, you're on mute. You're on
Yeah,
mute.
I muted myself to
You're good.
get out of the way. Yeah, man. No, thanks for having me on, dude. This was a blast, and I'm excited for people to hear this record. You can download it everywhere. Um, yeah, every country in the world
Hear
except for
that?
Lithuania.
Okay. Fair enough. Perfect. Users everywhere, Spain, Italy,
Yeah.
Iceland, wherever you're listening from, because we have a giant fan base in Reykjavik, is that if that's how you say it, Iceland.
Reykjavik.
Reykjavik, Iceland. There it is. We've got a huge fan base there. But doesn't matter. Whoever listening, wherever you're listening from, please check it out. I'm going to share it on all my platforms. And Steve, thanks for coming on Johnny on the Track. I wish you the best, man. We will keep in touch. Let me ask you this. Have you ever played in the Northeast, up in New England?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've been everywhere except for never played Alaska, but I've played every other state.
Okay. Where have you
Uh,
played? Do you know where you've played in Rhode Island?
Actually, I played a backyard in Providence, Rhode Island, but I believe that the couple was originally from Woonsocket.
Okay. Yes, absolutely.
I
Northern
just
Rhode
wanted I
Island.
just wanted to say Woonsocket.
Yeah, it sounded great. It sounded great. So yeah, we'll have to get you up to back up to New England, and anytime you're up there, man, I'm gonna be. I'll get tickets for sure.
Awesome, man. We'll see
Cool.
you
All
up
right.
there.
Yes, absolutely. So this has been Johnny on the Track. Steve, thanks again for coming on.